Thanks, Rob. Welcome to the new people. It's great to have you here. Just before I do the introduction, Peter Bartel, who leads one of the workshops here, sent me a note that he has an opening at Stratford University for a career services coordinator on the Falls Church campus. It's a full-time job, so anyone who might have a career interest in that, just let me know and I'll refer you to Peter. So, as you know, we have quite a dynamic CNN family of speakers, people that we call on just about every year, and once in a while we have a new one. So tonight we have a brand new speaker, John Matthews, and thank you, Francine, for referring him. John has had an interesting background managing a district of 23 shops, and in the process of working on that for many years, he became compelled and felt a calling to work on executive leadership and performance coaching. He demands a lot of himself. He's a first-degree black belt, and he also ran his first 5 and 10K recently. So I think he wants us to focus on the way we communicate and also remember to be ourselves. So welcome, John. Thank you so much.
Hello, can everyone hear me okay? How's everybody doing tonight? Fantastic. First of all, oh, there we go. I mean, I have a loud voice anyway, right? So, first of all, it's an honor to be here tonight. This is such an amazing, amazing organization, CNN, and to help people that are in transition. We're all in transition in some capacity, right? We're all on our own personal journey. So I think to empower and to equip people is such a powerful message that adds value to all of us. So I'm honored to serve you tonight on that journey. So, tell you a little bit about myself. I was called to be an executive coach to help people grow because I learned in my own personal journey how important it is to invest in myself, and therefore I wanted to pour into other people because perhaps I can share some wisdom, can share some experience that will help other people as they go on their journey in life. And we all have to get through this together, right? That's what it's about. It's about us leaning on each other, helping each other, and coming together in the spirit that the Lord wanted us to be together, right? Can I get an amen? Amen. All right. So when I decided to look at that, I wanted to make sure that I was valuing people in the way that would help them best. And I thought the way to do that was through coaching. So what we're going to go through tonight is really about maximizing the impact of your interview and making sure that you're being authentic and you're true to yourself. Now this comes from an 8-week course that I teach, which obviously we can't go through everything tonight because you guys want to go home, right? So we're just going to hit the tops of the waves tonight, but I assure you, whether you're in a new position or you're in transition and looking for that next opportunity, these are going to be some skills and some mindsets that are going to really help you to impact that journey and to deliver you into a job that's going to be fulfilling and is going to add value to you, and more specifically allow you to add value to others. So let's dive in, okay? So the first thing, I think I broke it already.
You turn the side, did it vibrate?
There we go. So we had user error. So that would, whoopsie. Okay. So let's talk about the odd thing called the interview. When you think about what an interview is, it's a conversation about a job or an opportunity, right? Here's the thing that I found that was odd about it. When we talk about the word interview, it's also used to describe the conversation between a criminal and a police officer, right? Right? It's like, you watch CSI or any of those shows, it's all about, oh, they're in the interview room. So how many people here feel more like they're in the interrogation room when they walk into the interview? Right? Right? How many people feel like, oh, this is a work conversation? Not a single, oh wait, there's one person, okay, And so often we go into that conversation with that anxiety and that feeling of, oh my goodness, this is just, okay, I gotta get it right, I gotta get it right, you know? So where we're gonna start is that this is really about, you're already right, okay? You're perfect as you are. It's the way God made you. So you don't need to walk into a room and have someone judge you. So you have to believe before you walk into that room that you're already right, that you're already good enough. So the first thing I want to hear everybody say is, I'm good enough. I'm good enough. Say it like you mean it. Give it to me again. I'm good enough. One more time. I'm good enough. There we go. You have to feel like you're good enough before you walk into an interview. Because if you don't have that mindset before you start, you're already done. Take a minute and think about that. You psych yourself out. You get yourself all worked up and say, oh goodness, I hope I can do this. Well, of course you can do this. You've got the skills, you've got the knowledge. Of course you can do this. And we all prepare for the interview the same way, right? Who here has the magic interview book of like 250 questions that they read the night before the interview? Okay, we've all done it. We have a friend or a family member who helps us cram so we can get the right answer. The problem with the right answer is the person interviewing you hasn't read that same book. Okay? So you're already trying to give answers, pre-programmed answers, to something that you haven't even experienced yet. And that's why it's important to be authentic, to be true to yourself. As Rob said, lock it down. Lock it down. Be comfortable with yourself. Be comfortable with your skills. Lock it down. And make sure that you go in there being you, authentically, truly you. Because when you memorize all of this information that's in the books and all the right answers to the question, you're like a Barbie doll. And she's been around for 75 years. I'm not hating on Barbie, okay? You know, however, the problem with that is that Barbie is plastic and she's synthetic. Do you want to be plastic and synthetic? No. You want to be yourself. Because here's what happens. If you go in there being a synthetic version of yourself, 90 days later, that employer is saying, that's not the person I hired. What happened to that great person that was in my interview? It's easier to go into the interview and be yourself. Put your best foot forward, okay? Represent your best as you walk into that interview. But be you. Because you know what? There's nobody that's more of an expert on being you than you. Okay? But if you're going there trying to be the synthetic version of yourself, can you be that person for 40 hours a week, every week, for the next 30 years? You can't. So you have to be authentic and true to who you are. Which takes us to our next point. How do you be authentic? It's about communication versus connection. So if I were to ask you, what does it mean to communicate? What would you say to me?
To get your point across.
To get your point across. What else?
Tell a story.
To tell a story. Allison.
Talk and listen.
To talk and listen. Okay? So, if I were to ask you this next question, what does it mean to connect? What would you say to me then? Find things that you have in common.
Share meaning.
To share meaning, to establish rapport. She's ahead of the curve. What else?
Transfer an idea.
Transfer an idea. So, let's look at some definitions. When we look at communication, communication is defined as the activity of conveying information. It's data. It's a text message, y'all. That's all it is. It's facts, it's information, it's data. Now let's find out what connection is. Connection is defined as a relationship or a meeting of the minds between two individuals. Like you said, you have a connection, you have a meeting of the minds. You have a fundamental understanding of where the person is coming from, and they have an understanding of where you're coming from. So in an interview situation, which do you think is going to be more powerful? Connection. You can't connect to somebody. You can't have a meeting of the minds. You can't have an understanding with somebody if you're not being authentic to yourself, can you? Because if you don't know your own mind, then how do you expect the person across the table to? So, where does that leave us? Why is communication not enough? I used the analogy of the text message earlier. How many of you have gotten a text message where you read this and you go, I'm not sure how I should take that. I'm not quite sure. Who's read a text message like that? Where you're not sure if you should, like everybody's like, oh my God, that's happened to me. You know, it's like, you're not sure if you should be happy, sad, angry, mad. Because there's no context to it. So just information, doing downloads in an interview of facts and statistics and so on and so forth is not going to be enough. You have to form a connection with the person that you're interviewing. You have to form that meeting of the minds, that building a small relationship with the person that's interviewing. Because if you don't do that, you're not going to be memorable by the time they get to the 5th, 6th, 7th person. So, where does that leave us? Oops, click. Organizations look for people who fit their culture. When we say fit, who's heard that? We're looking for someone who's the right fit. Yeah, we've all heard that. Like, what does that even mean? Fit means connection. We're looking for the person that has the connection to our internal clients, meaning our supervisors, peers, subordinates, the person that has the right connection to them, as well as to our external clients, which is whatever product or service that they're offering. So they're looking for you to have a connection. So when you see people, you see, or you hear that phrase, well, we're looking for people that have the right fit for the organization. They're looking for the people that have the right connection. And relationships are very crucial to your career. And we don't think about it. We think that the technical knowledge is enough. It's not. What determines your success, what determines your ability to get a position, is really about you having the ability to build those relationships, to connect. I am just hitting all kinds of wrong buttons here. There we go. I think I skipped. Can I go back? There we go. So all qualifications equal. Employers will choose a person with which they connect. So let me tell you a little story. So years ago, prior to becoming an executive coach, when I was a district manager for a company, it was my job to hire the talent, the people that would run the individual locations. And I had this one particular hotspot location that I needed somebody who was very strong. And so I got this resume from this young lady named Jenny. And I looked at her qualifications and I'm like, oh no, she's not quite strong enough. But you know what, let me bring her in. Let me interview her anyway. And so I'm just gonna be perfectly honest. I have a best practice when I was interviewing people of being intentionally late by about 5 or 10 minutes. It was just my way of seeing how they would interact with other people. Because as the boss, when I would walk in, people had a tendency to be nice. Yes, sir. How are you doing, sir? Full of smiles and sugar and sunshine. However, I wanted to see if they were able to connect to the people that already worked for me. Were they able to connect to our clients? Were they being authentic? So I would let them sit there for about 5 to 10 minutes so I could have the opportunity to observe it. And when this young lady walked in, she was smiling, she was talking to everybody, she was just full of energy. I'm like, oh my God, I love her already. We don't even need to do the interview. Here's your keys, we're good to go. The interview was just a formality because I saw that she was able to build relationships, she was able to connect. And that made me want her on the team. Even though she didn't have the right qualifications, even though she was not as strong as potentially somebody else that I got a resume from, She's the one I hired. And she's the one I invested in. Because she had the ability to build relationships and to connect. So think about that. And think about the impact to your career. So let's be clear. Forming a connection, it's not about being popular. It's not about being the most liked person in the organization. It's about you having the ability to have a meeting of the minds with those that you work with. It's about building those relationships. And that serves you not only in the interview process, but as you go through your career, those potential opportunities that come up down the line. One of the things that we kind of get jaded sometimes and we say is, well, it's not what you know, it's who you know, because we see so-and-so who gets a promotion that maybe is not as qualified. I'm going to change that. It's not what you know, it's how you connect. Who can you build a meeting of the minds with? How can you build relationships? Because you start interviewing for that next level position the minute you walk in the door. It's not judged on your work by itself. It's work built on the relationships, especially if you go into a supervisory role. They want to know that you have the ability to build relationships with those that are going to report to you. They want to know that you're going to be able to represent relationships throughout the organization. So it's going to be critical that you really focus on that relationship building piece. So, it's great. We all agree that connection is stronger than communication, right? You feel good about that? Okay? So, doesn't really do me, I'm not doing you justice, I'm not serving you if we don't talk about how to do it. It all starts with rapport. So rapport is about getting people to know, like, and trust you. And we're going to go through the steps on how to do that. So step one is getting people to know us. And when I'm talking about getting to know us, I'm not talking about like, what's your favorite food? Do you like long walks on the beach? You know? It's really about them understanding your intention. Like I said, your interview starts the minute you walk into that work environment. We're talking about body language when we talk about this. Who here has seen someone and said, you know what? I don't like them. I can't necessarily pin down why. They haven't even said anything yet. I just don't like them. You see, people will judge you before you even say a word. You might have the most sparkling personality known to mankind, okay? However, if your body language is not in alignment with that, you're kind of dead in the water. Fun statistic. 55% of communication is based on nonverbal body language, okay? So your mouth is all the way up here. It's competing with all of this, okay? And we don't think about it like that. We think, well, if I say the right words, then, okay, we're in great shape. No, because your body language says so much more. So prior to becoming a district manager, I worked for Banana Republic years and years ago. I'm dating myself, right? So yeah, I moisturize, it's fine. So, just saying. So, you know, I worked for Banana Republic, and we had to do what you call the figure eights. You had to walk around the sales floor and greet everybody and smile and be positive. And I'm a thinker. There are times where I'm trying to solve the problems of the universe up here. That's why I don't have hair anymore. But the thing about it is, because I wasn't conscious of my body language, I was walking around the sales floor one day, and someone looked at me and they were like, "Who made you mad?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And they said, "Well, you just look angry." And so my body language had betrayed me. I'm the nicest guy you ever want to meet. However, I mean, let's keep it real. I'm a big guy with a bald head and a voice like Darth Vader. So I don't always necessarily put people at ease. So what happens is, because my body language wasn't in alignment with the message that I wanted to send out, it created this break in perception is reality. So even though I was perfectly content, my body language was sending out this message. This guy is, you know, he's upset, he's angry. And so my customers behaved as if I was angry and unapproachable. The people that reported to me behaved as if I was angry and unapproachable. So right off the bat, my body language was sending this message